Sir Isaac Newton stated the first law of motion over 2.5 centuries ago. An object will remain at rest unless an outside force acts upon it to set it in motion. This basic natural law is just one of a number which directly affect the safe operation of a motorcycle. Therefore, it is necessary for the motorcycle operator to understand these natural forces and balance one against the other as the key to controlling a two-wheeled vehicle. Gravity, the force that pulls objects toward the center of the earth. Inertia, the tendency or property of all objects in motion to continue moving in a straight line, or if at rest, to remain at rest, unless acted upon by an outside force. Friction, the resistance to movement of one surface over another surface. Impact, the result of absorbing the inertia of an object in motion, of dissipating energy. This film, Natural Forces and the Motorcycle, will demonstrate in the classroom and on the street the forces of gravity, inertia, friction, energy, and impact, and will show their effect on the operation of a two-wheeled vehicle. First, a classroom demonstration on the force that tends to pull all objects, including a motorcycle, toward the center of the earth.
Now let's take a look at the force of gravity. That's the force that tends to drag all objects toward the center of the earth. It tends to act as if it were one point. Now this one point is known as the center of gravity. Now we can show the center of gravity rather easily by taking two kitchen forks, a needle, and a cork. Placed in this manner, we can then show that the center of gravity will hold it in position. Now this becomes very important for anyone riding a motorcycle. For if you can keep your center of gravity over the motorcycle, you can keep your balance and thus ride safely.
Remember that the force of gravity is added to the engine power that is moving a motorcycle when the vehicle is going downhill. That's why it is important to slow down as you approach a downgrade, or when you start to exceed a safe speed.
Another of the natural forces that affect a motorcycle rider is inertia. Now, inertia is that force which keeps things either at rest or in motion, unless they're acted upon by an outside force. What I have here is a small motorcycle on a turntable. We're going to turn this on and have it go at the speed of 33 revolutions per minute. As you can see, the motorcycle, because inertia is counteracting centripetal force and the force of gravity, will stay on the turntable. Now as we turn the speed up to 78, immediately the force of inertia flips the motorcycle off the curb. And this is very important when you are riding a four-wheeled or a two-wheeled vehicle.
Inertia is the tendency of an object in motion to continue moving in a straight line. That's why a motorcycle in a curve is naturally forced to the outside or back on a straight line. This centrifugal effect may be overcome by reducing speed and by leaning toward the inside of a curve. Reduce speed before entering a curve. Never apply brakes while in a curve. Check your tires often to make certain there is enough tread to provide friction between road and tires to help control your machine. The high wraparound tread on motorcycle tires provides a big advantage for additional control, especially around a curve.
Now let's consider the force of friction and its effect on a motorcycle rider. Friction is that force which retards movement or motion. And we can show it very well with these two dry ice pucks. The one without dry ice, the other with. Now this puck does not have dry ice in it, and even though it is very smooth on the bottom, the force of friction will overcome its momentum rather rapidly and it will stop. On the other hand, this puck, with its layer of carbon dioxide gas underneath, when we put it on the table and push it, this layer will then reduce the effect of friction, and as you can see, without Claudine, it would be off the end of the table. The force of friction becomes a very important force as far as stopping and starting of any motorcycle, or for that matter, any other motor vehicle.
The basic purpose of a wheel is to decrease friction, making it possible for an object to roll. The advantage of friction is to help hold the vehicle on curves and to slow or stop a motorcycle when the operator applies the brakes. Too much brake and the wheels lock, and the motorcycle continues to move by skidding. The vehicle is out of control. The natural force of friction is lost. Always apply brakes gradually and keep the advantage of rolling friction.
Fast starts and fast stops involve a lot of friction. Wears out tires, brakes, and clutches. Have your bike serviced regularly and keep it well lubricated.
A motorcycle is a machine of energy, potential because of form and position, and kinetic energy when in motion. This may be expressed in a classroom formula.
Kinetic energy, the energy of motion, is equal to the mass times the velocity squared, all divided by 2. That is, if you double the velocity, then the kinetic energy will be 4 times as great. For example, filling in for the formula, if we take a 100-pound motorcycle and multiply it times a velocity of 10 miles per hour squared and divide that by 2, we come out with then 5,000 pounds of force, kinetic energy. If we just doubled the speed, in other words, we still have our 100-pound motorcycle, we now are going 20 miles an hour, squaring it, dividing it by 2, the answer then will be just 4 times as great, or 20,000 foot-pounds of force, kinetic energy.
Doubling velocity quadruples kinetic energy. In other words, the faster you go, the longer it takes you to stop. Note the stopping distance at 10 miles per hour. Now, at double the speed, or 20 miles per hour, it takes almost 4 times the distance to stop. So take it easy. Watch your speed. In all traffic situations, always expect the unexpected, and always add reaction time, or thinking distance, to stopping distance.
All right, now let's consider impact. Impact is nothing more than a change of momentum. And momentum is a function of the mass times the velocity. Now we can show this effect very easily with these 2 clay balls. First we'll take the yellow ball and drop it from quite a distance up. Then we'll take the red ball and drop it from about half that distance. Looking then at the effect of the 2, we can readily see that the impact, the change in momentum on the yellow ball, was quite a bit more than that on the red. This then is the force of impact. It's a very important force. As long as you are moving, the faster you move, the greater the impact.
Speed is the most important factor in determining the force of impact, or often in avoiding a collision altogether. A motorcycle rider who operates his vehicle at a reasonable speed has more control over his machine, is always more able to ride defensively. Understand how the natural forces of nature may work for and against you when operating a motorcycle. The knowledge will make you a much safer rider.
Remember, when you operate any motor vehicle, 2 wheels or 4, you are operating with the permission of the natural forces of our universe, physical laws of nature, which are always enforced. If it's a 2-wheeled vehicle, the key to control is balancing one law against the other. Every sport has its prescribed uniform, designed to afford maximum protection and allow maximum movement. Many of these uniforms have a direct relationship to the laws governing natural forces. This is especially true in sports cycling.
There's one other area that I have legislation pending at the present time in Sacramento. This legislation will say that if you buy a safety helmet, and if you are a motorcycle rider, this safety helmet will meet certain standards. This means that if you buy the helmet, you can be assured that it will do the job.
One of the most important parts of safety on a motorcycle is the protective clothing that you wear. And starting at the head, you need a helmet. A good helmet has a good sturdy shell, a non-resilient type lining to absorb impact, and a good strong strap. In addition to the helmet, you need goggles to protect the eyes or a face shield to keep out flying rocks, bugs, this sort of thing from your face and your eyes, and fasten that strap. Be seen. You want to wear bright colored clothing so that you can be seen during the day. Long sleeve to protect your arms. Your hands need to be protected with leather gloves, and your feet with leather boots. Reflective tape on that helmet or on your motorcycle will help you be seen at night.
Outer garments may be selected for fashion as well as protection. The protective clothing you wear and the operating skill you develop are 2 important factors in motorcycle riding. When man makes the law, man enforces the law. When the law involves a natural force, the law is self-enforcing. It cannot be broken by man without paying a penalty. The new generation of motorcycle riders obeys them both. That's another law, the law of common sense, the principle of defensive riding. Defensive riding in traffic situations and always riding within the natural forces.